Root, you cannot, if you try to connect to the server with root, it is disabled. Okay, it's a security feature actually. What you have to do is you have to connect to the server with a user ID which already has um, a username sitting on that server. So yesterday everybody logged in with their own ID, right? The reason you were able to log in with your own ID is I had went on each server and manually added your ID onto those servers. Okay. Um, where is the servers here? So each server I have to go in there and add a ID and a password. But in reality, you could automate those things a little bit here, but I'll show that later.
My putty is not getting connected, sir. It shows network error timed out.
Yeah, just right click and restart and then try it again.
Restart,
Yeah.
restart my computer.
No, no, no. On this putty bar, right click there and you have a restart option.
Restart option.
No, just close it and turn it back on. Close the putty and launch it again.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that, but time and again it's saying the same thing. Same thing.
What is the IP address is saying?
It totally went off now. Host name or ID.
Maybe it's not in there anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to type it. Type the number manually. 71.57.95.5.
71.57.95.5, right?
Yes, sir. Just type
And
it
the
and
port is 60, right?
no, 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 no. Just leave it as default. Did you put it as 60?
Yeah.
No, that may be the problem then. Port number should be 22 default.
Okay, 22. Connection type it says SSH.
Yeah, just leave everything default here. I didn't
Okay.
expect you to change any of those.
Okay. Yes, it came back.
Okay, great. So
Thank you.
now, yeah. Now what we're gonna do is, yesterday you just type SSH and then the IP address, right? Whatever your first server IP address is. Since you're not providing the username, it's connecting to whatever the username you are logged in into the present server right now. It assumed that you're going to connect using that server. But here's the trick here. I'm going to say SSH, then type root, ROOT at. Root at, and then the first server IP address. And hit enter. It's going to exchange the keys again. Okay, now look closely here. It is asking for the root user password. This time put in the password Red Hat. I'm logged into Zafar 01. Any questions? Hello, anybody? It worked just fine for everybody?
Yeah, it worked for me.
Yes, it works for me too.
All right, man. I would be sad if it doesn't work for you, Coleman. Yeah.
It says for me name or service not known and then command not found.
What, do this here wherever you are. Type exactly SSH and at root, and then your fast IP address. Give me 1 second here. Let me get my iPad. Abdullah, I need a blue iPad. ऊपर से जल्दी जाके लेके आओ हमारे स्टैंड पर से. Abdullah, I need my blue iPad. Go get it all the way from.
Yes, I got it.
Motion detected at your back door.
Okay, I'm back here. Are you good, Najam? Okay, so I type the command SSH, and when you do the root at and then the IP address, that means this is the user ID you want to connect with. And what is it? This is the command. Okay. And if you notice, it will ask you for the root password. So if I connect to your server using from here SSH Najam at, it will ask me the Najam password, okay? Okay? And here is a confirmation. Every time you log in, it will tell you the username and then the host name partially. It's not going to tell you the host name full. So next time when you guys going to go in there and set your server to Najam 01, the second one to Najam 02 and 03, that way you have a good sense that which server you're connecting into, okay? And this is the full host name. I'm saying host name is the same thing as the server name, okay? The server, computer, host, node, all those things means the same thing. The technical word is host name. You should be referring the server, any server in your environment, to host, as a host. Okay, and give me one moment here. Let me copy this. Okay. I don't hear any questions, so I think people are getting this. Okay, it's gonna be even getting exciting. The more you learn about this, it gets even better.
Mr. Zafar, when you were distinguishing what the whole the command by SSH being command and then root being user ID to connect to, the
Yeah,
last part, the add IP address is the host name, right?
yeah, it's a host name. IP address is not the host name, host IP address.
Host IP address. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So I'll show you in a bit of detail here in a minute what all those things means. Okay. So what is happening now is I'm going to explain. There is a concept called bastion host or jump box in the IT people. They say jump box, and what else we call Ranjan? You have any idea? We call jump box, bastion host, secure box. So what is the concept here is I'm going to tell you what the bastion host is.
My putty is not working again. It shows inactive for me.
Yeah, I think what you're going to have to do is go when you are launching putty for the first time, right? Do you have anything saved in this area?
Only two things.
What do you have in there?
1 second. All I have is default settings and Linux session.
Yeah, so click on Linux session and click load and tell me you have the IP address in there.
71.57.95.5.
Okay, so yeah, use that to connect. Just click open.
Yeah, but after like 5 minutes, it's going off.
Yeah, because what you did is once the window opens, right click here and change settings, and then under connection put down like 60 seconds, so it will keep the connection alive.
And Linux session or the different one? Run patient or run unplug from taskbar the window.
Just click in connections and keep it 60, okay? And then get out of there. See, I'm logged in for like last 2 days. It's been like 26 hours and all that. I'm not having any issues here, Najam. What you do is go in here after the class, go into PuTTY connection, and I have in great detail how all this thing is working. Okay, set that up.
Okay.
All right. So for now, let's continue. All right, looks like this is yeah, this is a good picture. A little complex, but I have this picture saved already, right? So what is happening here is you guys are connecting, you guys are outside the environment here, right? Everybody is connecting from the internet here. And what happens is you're connecting to this server here. This is our server. Which server is this? 71 dot?
95 dot.
Yeah.
Sorry, 71.57.95.5.
Yeah, that's the server you're connecting into. So I'm giving you the best real world scenario here. So this is the server you're connecting, 71.95.57.5. I think it's 57.95.5, right?
Yes.
So from the outside, you're connecting to this server here. At the same time, this server is surrounded by a security here, okay? And then you're connecting to the other Linux servers here, which everybody has access to. And that's how it works. So you cannot come here and directly connect to Linux boxes here. No. that is not going to happen. And this is called a public subnet, and this is a private subnet. And if you try to connect directly here, there is no way in the world you could do it, because the IP address, if you look at the IP address, this IP address is a public IP address, right? 71.57.95.5. All other IP addresses inside here are 10 dot 1 dot whatever. So let me copy that from here so that you have good visual here. Okay, so this is gonna be a ZMPT 01. This is gonna be Zafar 01, 02, 03. Okay, that's how it rolls. Any questions? So you guys are connecting from internet.
So, Mr. Zafar, I have a question.
Yeah.
So this is where, when you're setting up the hypervisor, this is where the bridge adapter comes into play, right?
No.
Because
Don't get confused with hypervisor. No. This is just the common concept. I'm showing you how this is in reality how the network is set up. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna get rid of this part here. Okay, so of course it has a security in here, right? When you put in the password, it has security and all that. And this Bastion host is hardened. Okay, hardened means it's highly restricted. A lot of security is in place. Alright, so this is hardened, and there is a lot of security sitting in it. Bastion host. I learned yesterday you have to hold the shift down and then it will go straight line. Okay, if you are doing it here, that's how you should do it. Okay, so this is very hardened here. It's going to be really difficult for you to hack this. And once you hack this, that's it. Everything else inside the company, which is connecting from this Bastion host, is going to be really easy. I'll show you how easy is that. Okay, let's do that. Any questions regarding here, Najam, Aisha?
Yes, Professor, I do have a question.
Go ahead, Coleman.
Yeah. So is that the company we work with that provide us like a private server?
I'm sorry, what?
I said, who provide the server for us?
The company have to do it. They have to spend the money. The place you will be working, they would have a big budget. They won't be like a cheap place. They you know, I mean, if a company doesn't have a budget to do all this here, they'll be dead in water. So don't work at that place. You probably be any place which is managing servers will have lot of deep pockets. There would be automatically be big companies. Even the small company you never heard of, they would have to have a budget, or else it won't work.
Okay. But is that possible for us to get our own server?
Yeah, if you are interested, I'll help you set up here. In fact, after this here, when you go into downloads here, there is
Yes,
a
sir.
pre-configured VirtualBox image here. I think you downloaded this already, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
But did you configure it correctly? If not, after the class, when it's done, we could take a look.
Okay. How do you configure it?
I'm sorry, what?
I said, how do you configure it? How do you set up everything?
No, I can help you here. What you have to do is you have to open a port inside your Comcast modem. Who do you have service with?
Spectrum.
Spectrum?
Yes, sir.
Where are you? Indianapolis or Seattle?
Indianapolis.
Okay.
Seattle is my uncle, Kwasi.
Kwasi is in Seattle, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'll show you, or I may have a document. I'll just send it to you. You're a smart guy. You should be able to set it up. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So now, I hope this explains how this is working here, because when it comes to the server and all that, the security is topmost priority, because you've been hearing hackers are hacking into the servers and all that. A lot of companies, they don't want to deal with that. Most of the time, hacking is an inside job. If somebody's doing it from inside, nobody's going to save you. Or people just leaving the password here and there. So one other thing with the password is never leave the password and never share the password with anybody. If your manager or the CEO of the company comes up and asks you, I need the password for the servers, just politely decline them. You don't know. Okay? Never share the password here, because in a real world environment, managers don't have access to the servers. Okay? All they do is they're managing it. And all this thing is done by audit here. You guys know what audit is, right? After the fact, every 2 months or 3 months, there is an audit going on, and they will check who's logging in where and where it's supposed to log in and all that. All those things are real. Okay, so the concept of using the user is clear, right? With the username?
Yes, sir, it's good.
Okay. All right, now we did looked into the Bastion host or jump box or whatever. There are several ways it's been called here. Most of the time it's called Bastion host or a jump box, so that you are securing the, you are accessing the secure location. See how many levels of security. One is password. Second level is this is under like a subnet, and it is hardened, and from there you're tunneling into the private subnet, And in there, on top of that, it will still ask you for the password here.
I again got disconnected from Putty. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, Najam, close everything and launch this. Close everything and follow exactly what I'm doing here, okay? Do you have this here?
Yes.
Okay, select the Linux box and then select it and click load. Okay, you should have the IP address, host name or IP address. You should have the IP address in there where it says host name, and Linux saved session. You should have whatever the name you give, right?
Yeah, Linux session, yes. So it's 715795
Okay,
5.
good. Now click on connection on the left side. And what do you have in the seconds between keep alives?
Connection?
Are you looking at my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so click same exact way on your party.
Okay, keep alive is 60, right?
Yeah, what was it set to?
It is set to 60 only. Low level TCP connection options, no. And I have to enable it?
Well, match everything what you see on my screen.
Okay. I did.
Something was disabled, not checked.
It was enabled TCP keeps alive was not checked.
Okay, yeah, that may be it. And then, what else? I need to change this myself here too. It's a large number. And then go back into session and make sure the thing is still in there. Just click save.
I did.
Okay, close it and bring it back up again and see the settings are saved.
No, for some reason my enable TCP keep alive is getting unchecked.
Yeah, because you have to do it. Let's look at it. Can you share your? Did you set up your Google remote desktop?
No, last time we did it something, so we just got it through that.
Oh, okay. Oh, God. Go ahead and somehow connect it. Okay, we'll just do it temporarily. Somehow just launch party and connect. Once you connect, I'll show you what you need to do. You see on the top bar here, where you go like click and drag, right click there, and click change settings, okay? And then in connections, keep that on. Just save it to 60.
So I right clicked it, and what do I have to do now? Change settings, right?
Yeah. Connections.
And then okay, and hit apply, right?
Yeah.
I did it.
Okay, hopefully it will stay on, okay? Let's continue. Okay. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna connect. So we're gonna connect from our first. We're gonna connect our this server, whatever the very first server you log into, Bastion host or Jumpbox. Okay. So we're gonna connect to our very first server, but this time around we're gonna set it up as such. We don't have to put in the password. Okay. So everybody, wherever you logged in, you should be into the server 01. There, type this command here. SSH hyphen KEYGEN. Type exactly the way it is.
I am at root at
Get
Aisha
out of there.
01.
Get out of there.
Okay.
Type exit and can get back to your first server. Not your first server, but the jump host. You see here server 01?
So the key QUN or QEN or GEN.
Okay. Keygen, KEYGEN. Najam, if possible, can you log in from another computer also so that. Are you logging in from one computer or two computers?
I just have one at home.
Okay. All right, let's continue. Because your
I was
screen-
intending to purchase it, but you said it's okay, so I just.
No. What I'm saying is, if you have two computers, you could log in and watch me on one computer, and then do this do the party on another computer, or if you have an iPad, one of those. That is what I was saying. Not the computer itself. So when you have like two computers, you will be hands free. You don't have to worry about like switching back and forth. I think that is what the problem you're having. So type SSH hyphen keygen, okay? And hit
Okay.
enter. And these things will come up here. Generating. Enter the file in which to save the key here. This is the default location. And if it's starting with dot period, what does it mean? Anybody?
Home.
Home page. You are at home.
Yeah, I know, but what is a file or a folder which
It's
is
gonna
starting-
it's gonna be in a directory,
File.
It is, but what?
secure shell directory.
No, concentrate on the period. If something starts with a period, what is it?
Hidden.
Hidden, yes. Is creating a secure key, and it's going to be putting it into this hidden folder, and the name of the key would be ID_RSA. Okay. So over here, you don't have to do anything. Just hit enter key. Hit enter. Okay, and then you may or may not get an option here. It's already there or connected. Did you guys get it's already there?
I got a message that says enter a passphrase,
Okay,
and then
good.
in parentheses it says enter for no passphrase. Empty for no passphrase.
Yeah. So hit enter.
Okay.
And then enter the same passphrase. Hit enter again, and it will display this message, and that's it. You're done.
So what did we just do here by doing all this?
Yeah. Give me a minute here. So what we are doing here is I have to show you what we did, and then we'll go forward here, okay? So the command is SSH keygen. We created a keychain, okay? We created a keychain, and what it is it's going to be a alphanumeric number. So everybody, if you do this here, copy this and cat it, CAT, and then do this here, right click and paste, cat /home /Zafar, in this case your name. So it's over here, you don't have to look for it. Just do this here and copy it and then put it in there, and it has like a alphanumeric number here, okay? This is a security key. So this is a public key. The one above this is a private key. Private keys are a little bit longer. Look at that. There is a very long alphanumeric cryptographic key. That means it could be only one key like this in the whole universe, okay?
Mr. Zafar, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I don't know if it might be relative to this or not, but I see the word RSA on this too. And when I was in my IT job, we had RSA tokens to securely get into the network. So is this something like that?
Exactly, that's what it is. That's the company I think that came up with. RSA is the name of the security company. Let me see if it's org or not.
So does this auto generate new keys automatically in the backend so it can never be copied?
Exactly, that's what it's doing.
Okay.
It says no such file or directory. I said cat and then /home /najm /.ssh /id /rsa.pub.
No.
Dot.
No, remove dot.
Oh, the last dot.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I got the.
Okay. So now, what I'm going to do
Can you give us
is...
a minute, please? Can you give us a minute?
Can I give you what?
A minute.
Yeah, fine.
So then I have to type this SSH /keygen again.
No. Only one type.
So now I am still at Aisha at server 01.
Yeah. Okay, so what is happening is it created a key here, and now this server, we created a key, right? Let me make sure I had copied all this good. And there's no need here. You know what? Actually, I'll put this in here.
Mr. Zafar, is there a time frame where this auto generates itself?
It actually auto generates when you are exchanging the keys, but this is the one.
So what's the purpose of why are we doing this?
Yeah, your answer will be your question will be answered in like next step when we do this. Okay.
Okay.
It's a very good question. Why? And you will find out in a minute. Okay, I really don't want to put this here. What I want to do is, let me just shrink it really small so that it's just there. Okay, just for your reference, okay, because I want you to know this is like a huge alphanumeric key. Okay, all right, at least that is there. Now I have to deal with this. Okay, don't sweat over this. This is just a FYI. Okay, now, so we have done this here now, right? So the next command we're going to run is clear your screen. Then do this command here, SSH hyphen copy hyphen ID and your first server IP address 10 dot. I have to go back and see mine. So you all should remember your first IP address. If not, go back to your website and take a look. 10.1.10.232. 10.1.10.232. Okay, when everybody had typed this up and ready, let me know.
I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, now it exchanged the keys here. And then it's asking for the password for Zafar. So I'm going to put the password for Zafar. And whatever the password you have for your own ID, put that in there. And hit enter. And you should get the message here, number of keys added 1. Now logging into the machine with SSH and this, and check to make sure that only key you wanted are added. Okay, we're not worried about that. But just to make sure you got this message here. Everybody with me?
Yes. So what did we exactly do here?
What we did here is, so when we ran this command here, what it did was it took this copy ID, user bin / copy ID, that's a command. But what it did was it took this ID here and copied into the same location into the server 1. Okay, what it did was it took the public ID and put it into on the server. Okay, the public ID, this is a public ID. This is a combination of the private ID as well as other combination here. So half or a little bit of this does have a public ID in here. I said don't worry about that, it's in there, it's encrypted, you cannot see it. So what it did was it established a trust. Okay?
Okay.
So it established a trust here. So what is happening is
So, question, Mr. Zafar, can we also phrase this as at first we created our own security keys and now we assigned it to that specific IP address?
exactly, yes. We created own security key, and we have established the trust between two servers here. Now, since the keys are in place and all the thing is there, just do SSH and the IP address 10.1.10.232 and whatever your first server IP is, and hit enter. It will connect without asking the password. It connected without asking the password. Take a look here. I'm in Zafar 01.
That's really cool.
So
Yeah.
the whole purpose of this was connecting to one server to another server.
Without password.
Without
It didn't prompt you for the password, did it?
No.
So all the hard work is done here. So just imagine if you have like 1,000 servers and you want to work on 100 servers out of them. It would be pain to connect to each server and ask for the password and all that. How difficult it's going to be, right? It's going to be just silly. You're going to be sitting there and putting in password all day long. So what you do is when everything is being set up for the first time, all these things are being set up automatically. It's called automation. Okay? In the assignment, I'm going to ask you to set up this between all three servers. In the assignment, what I'll do is like go and from here to set up here, from here to set up here, from here to here, here to here. So total of 9 setups you're going to end up doing it. Okay? 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 2 to 1, 2 to 3, 3 to 1, 3 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 2. All those things will come in. So what will happen is you will be going back and forth from one server to another server without having to put in the password here. Why? Because it will be helpful. And the second thing is it is actually allowed when this is done here. So this is under the secure location here. Why? Because it can be done and it's allowed here. Now you see how vulnerable these servers would be if somebody has access to Bastion host. If somehow he is able to get in there, boom, he's able to get in here and then do a lot of damage. Okay, so I'm telling you again and again that if you have access to these servers, never ever share the password and all that, okay? Please. That is expected from the Linux guys here because you will have access to root. Once you are in there, you would have access. When I worked at Apple here, we were told we had like 1 million servers there, right? And then I was connecting to servers all over the world, Singapore, Ireland, South Africa, and I didn't have to put in password each time. They're all secure, going through the tunnels and everything. Once you are in, then you have full access. Even the CEO of the company won't have access to this. So I'm telling you again and again, never share the password. Just keep it with yourself, okay? That would be good. If you end up working for a bank, just imagine you have all the data at your fingertips. So don't ever try to change around or do this here, and on top of that, all this thing is being monitored. You know, there is another Linux guys who are sitting called security, IS security, information security, and they'll be monitoring and doing audit and all this. All right, any questions before we take a break? We'll take a break in another 10 minutes.
Professor,
Yeah.
please comment. So I think you have to double check my first server is not working. So I just use the second one all the time.
What is your first server IP?
It's 10.1.10.2. It doesn't work.
2?
Yes, 2 at the end. Yes, sir.
Common?
Yes, sir.
Or are you able to connect at all?
Yeah. I mean, I usually use the second one, 126 at the end. That's what I use. The first one doesn't work. But I did not try the third one.
So I'll tell you how to do it. Type SSH root at. Go ahead and do that.
Okay.
And then change the password. You know how to change the password?
Yes, sir. I'll try.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to show that now because people might get confused. That's part of administration.
Okay, no problem, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good. So now, so here it connected here and it didn't even prompt you for the password.
Mr. Zafar, one question.
Yeah.
This IP address that is coming for the last login, is that like the main hub?
10 dot. They're all on the same subnet here. If you notice, only last part is changing.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all on same hub.
Okay, so that 10.1.10.250 is the main hub, right?
250, usually it's 1, 10.1.10.1. If that one goes down, everything goes down.
If you go back to your documents page, you copy and pasted it from the main thing. So right there, the last login on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yes, at the last line. Yep, that IP address. That's what I was curious about. Just wanted to know what that was for.
Very good, very good. So if you look at the master server here, if you do IPA, and this is where it's coming from. The one, that's very good analysis here, very good. You caught me right there. So what is happening here is 71.57.95.5 is actually the IP address of the Comcast. Okay? And then the local IP address for Bastion host is this here. 10 dot, where does it go? 10.1.10.250. I set this up as a static IP address. So from outside, we are hitting 71.57.95.5. So when we are hitting the Comcast router, it's actually forwarding it to 10.1.10.250. Okay, why is it saying 250? For everybody, it should say 250. Is that right? Is it showing you
Yes,
250
for me.
also? Yeah. Because it's showing you the local IP address. It's not showing you the public IP address, which is outside. I should add. Yeah, that's a good catch right there. Very good.
So the command was IPA.
Now, I mean, just hang on for a minute here. I'll show that command officially. But we have all these user connecting, right? I want to make it look nice. This is all of us here. I see Coleman in there, myself, and all of us. Okay, so all these users are connecting actually over here, public subnet. This is where the Comcast is sitting, okay? We have a security here, right? So the Comcast is sitting right here. And this is the IP address for Comcast, okay? From outside, this is what you're hitting here. But internally, the IP address for this host is 10.1.10.250. There you go. All right, this is a better picture. All right, this looks good to me. So now you connect without a password here. So, okay, so everybody have a good understanding of this, right? Any more questions regarding this, or should I explain more?
So the only purpose for going all through that was just to enter without a password and save time, right?
Yeah. So just imagine,
So what
yeah.
once we log out every day and then if someone tries to enter it, so the basic thing is that he should have our password to enter and then he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. So
Is
that's
there
what
a way
I'm
that we
saying.
can log these out and come out?
That's where the weakest link in security is people. The
Okay.
weakest link in security is people. If somebody shared a password with you, or you shared a password with somebody, and they're not being honest and all that, they could do a lot of damage because the ID is going to show up as you. People are going to come and question you.
Okay.
So it's really important, never share this. Now you could see even a highly secure environment, once you are in, there you go, you have access to thousands of servers. Thousands and thousands. In reality, there are thousands and thousands of servers here, VM and all that here. You're not going to find a real picture of data center, but these are all the graphics you could find. Because data center, a lot of data center, almost every data center, they don't allow you to take pictures in there. This is a building full of data center. When I worked for Apple, everybody, they are back here, right? Now here's the shocker. Type sudo space su minus. Let me clear the screen and bring it up on the top. sudo su and a minus. And then hit enter. This time around, you have to provide your own password. So I'm going to provide the password for Zafar. Do this here. Get out of this and go back to the main server, original server. We'll come back here again, okay? Everybody should be back to server 01. Clear it. Go back in there again. SSH 10.1.10. minus 232. I'm in there. It didn't ask me for the password. Now since the permissions were just granted, you have to exit out of it and get back in there so that the permission get affected. And the password for Zafar. There you go. Now you became root, but you provided the password for Zafar. Why? Because Zafar is he has an elevated access. So this is the difference here. Going forward, you will be using sudo -su. Now you really don't need to know the password for root, do you? Okay, so not everybody will have root access at the job, even though you will be.
So what is the password for this pseudo password for that?
The password for Najam.
Oh, okay.
So this would be
Yes.
another layer of security. You're becoming a root without really knowing the root password, right?
Yes.
That's called pseudo access. Pseudo access okay, pseudo stands for super user do. Okay, let me put that down here.
So you have to create your own password here?
No. I mean, where is it asking you to create your own password? It just asks you to type your password in there, right? Over here, it clearly says password for Zafar. For you, it should say password for Aisha. Okay, you're not creating it. You're not creating it. Remember, always remember, when you're creating a new password, it will tell you to type in twice. So sudo means sudo means super user do. What you're doing is you're telling the system to super user do, and su means switch user, and in this case hyphen, that means oh god, root. Okay, so if you combine all this command here, sudo su hyphen. So when you look at this here, the command you typed into the system here, right?
So before we were asked to enter the password and we were entering Red Hat as password. So now this time we don't have to enter Red Hat password.
Exactly. So
Okay, so-
the root password in reality is like very long, 26 digits. I mean, it's easier to remember your password rather than remembering like an alphanumeric 26 digit password. Would you agree? Now, here's the command sudo switch user do. Switch user do, and then again you're saying switch user. And then the little hyphen means root. So what we're doing is we're doing switch the user to root. Okay, who's doing that? Zafar is doing that, and it's asking for the password for Zafar. Once you put in the password for Zafar, since the Zafar is part of the wheel group, he is granted the root access. He has become root without even knowing the password as root password. Okay, is that clear enough?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think I told you, you cannot connect to the server directly, right? Now you see how from one server to another server, you are not required to put in the root password. So from one server to another server, when you switch, you're not required to put in the password. Give me 1 minute here, okay? Hello? ले लिया, मैं लाने जा रहा था, ले रहे तो ले लो. ओके सर. तुम जा रहे हैं क्या? ओके ठीक है, मेरे को भी जाना है वो एरिया में. ओके. Okay, I'm back. So, any questions? Anybody has any problem with that? Okay, so you're switching to root, but you're using the password for Zafar. The only reason Zafar is able to do, user is able to do, is because he's part of the super user group, which is called wheel. So,
Hey, Mr. Zafar, question. Do we ever have access to check who's in the group wheel, or we don't?
yes, you can. You do. In fact, if you do ID Zafar, oh god, I'm keep getting disconnected. Is this happening to you guys too?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time. I have to keep relogging again.
No, it shouldn't happen to the main server. It's happening to my other server.
If I'm not using it, then after few minutes it goes up.
So here you logged in this server here, and if you do ID Zafar, and you could use anybody's ID and then type it in there. As long as they are in wheel group, that's it. They have root access.
Should we exit the root server or group?
Yeah. So in reality, after a few minutes, it will disconnect. Why? Because of the sensitivity. When the system is hardened, all those things are set as part of the policy. After how many minutes you should get disconnected, and all those would become a part of a policy. Okay, now stay in as, let's stay in as user, sudo su, if you're not already in there. Now here's the fun part, Beacon. Going forward, you will always be working as a root here. You go in, you log in as Zafar, and then you're checking in as here. So here's the fun part here. I told you earlier you're not able to connect to the server directly, right? You have to use with the user. So how do you find out who's working? You type last -10 and it will give you the activity. Okay, this dude is the one who is coming into the server. So if something happened to the server, you go talk to them. Okay, so last command is the one. I'll go more deep into what last command is. I think I already have talked about last command, right? Who's logging in?
Yes, you
And
already told us about
who's
it.
not and all that. Okay, great. So now let's create a user. Now we are a root. So we are the master of this server. We do whatever we want now. Okay, so let's do add a user. So everybody follow with me. On your first server, make sure you are on Zafar 1 and whatever your server is, Najam 1 or Mirza 01 or whatever. In here, we are going to add a user called user add. And terminator, give it a name terminator. User add terminator and hit enter. Okay, you have just created a user with the name terminator. And you did the ID terminator. There you go. System automatically creates the username terminator and it also creates the group terminator and it also showing which group the user belongs to. So he belongs to one group, right? So here's a list of groups. If he is belong to another group, it will show up in here in this part. So for now he's belonging to only one group. So user add is the command to add a user to the system. And who could do that? Who could do the user add?
The root user.
Only root can do it. Yeah. And only root user could do it. This is the command to add user.
So instead of terminator, we can add any name.
Yeah, instead of terminator, whatever the name you have, you could add it to. So here we added terminator. And when you type ID terminator, it will give you the output. It will give you the information about the user terminator. Okay, that should be clear cut. And this is the user ID. It's automatically created. UID is UID equals user ID. And over here it says GID, GID. Group ID. And the groups the user belong to. Obviously he belongs to one group right now. Okay? This is command to add, actually. Command to add user, and then that one is the user ID. So you should have in the mind what the name of the user. Usually the user ID is your name if you're adding it for somebody, or an application name and all that.
Hey, Mr. Zafar, I have a question.
Yes.
I think you might be coming to that, but maybe I'm jumping the gun. But is there a command to see the name of the users instead of specifying a specific user?
All the users in the list? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. So
Sorry, sir, I missed a good 15-20 minutes of your last thing.
So the UID is user ID, GID is a group ID, and groups is whatever he is part of. Okay, and so that's all we have here. So, okay, now when you run this terminator, user ID terminator, user add terminator, what happens is the etc, there is one file in the system that gets updated. Adds user to system. When it adds, this file gets updated, /etc/passwd. What does the etc folder does? If we go back up here, when we look at the etc folder, basic commands, no, not basic.
I think it contains all configuration files.
Very good. I thought I updated. Okay, directory structure, right? So here, the etc folder, it contains configuration file. So this file is sitting into /etc password, right? /etc password file gets updated. So go ahead and cat that file. Cat. Oh God, I keep getting this. Anybody else is having problem?
No, I'm good.
Anybody else?
My wife is good too.
Okay, good. Oh, I think okay. I think my system is slow. Let me make sure. Connection. All this is good here. Okay. So if you cat the file cat etc password passwd, not the whole word password, short passwd. Okay. And then hit enter. You see on the bottom here, there's a Zafar in here, and then Terminator is 2. Because Zafar and Terminator, the password file gets updated on the bottom. And all these are system generated users here, okay? Don't worry about it, don't touch it, okay? It's beyond this class here. But just concentrate on whatever is being updated on the bottom. So over here, you have Zafar here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes.
you have Zafar here, and then these are the IDs. So this is 1000 and this is 1001, the user ID in the system. And what is this looks like? /home/Zafar.
That's the present working directory.
Yeah, no, a home directory for the user.
Home
Zafar.
directory, yes.
And home directory for the user Terminator. bin/bash, I'll explain that later. So what happens here is /etc password file. This file gets updated. This file. Najam, can you go on mute, please? This file holds the user ID information. Okay, so when the user is added, this file gets updated. Now the user is added, but he doesn't have a password yet. Okay, we're gonna set
Question, Mr. Zafar. The user ID assigned to the users being created, the 1000 and the 1001, are those automatically generated like as far as the users keep going along, or that's how
It
many
does.
users have already been in the system?
the first one. The user ID gets generated. There is another file I'll show you, logins file. I'll show you based on that. It will generate
and this
this
is
file.
completely random, right? It's not.
Right now, the
specific
default
region?
the default is 1000.
1000. Okay.
And 1000. If you create another user, it will go to
It'll be
1002.
Okay.
Okay, that's how it rolls.
Okay.
What do you mean by user here? A human or a file or something?
Say that again.
What do you mean by adding a user? A user is a person, another person?
Yes, we just added Terminator as another person.
How
to
to
use
add
the
that?
system. Yeah,
How to add the user?
correct.
And also the users that we're creating, they're getting a group is getting automatically created for them since there's no group in the system, right?
Correct.
That's where the GID comes in.
Yep. So the
So
what is
once
this?
we create groups, we can assign them into specific groups.
Yeah. So by default, we're creating the user unless we specify the group ID. It's automatically using the same user ID as a group ID. Okay, but there is a difference. This is a user ID, and the group ID is different. Same too. And then this is just the information that groups the user belong to. Obviously, it belongs to one group right now, so that's what it's showing you. Okay, if you go earlier, the user Zafar, when you looked at ID Zafar here, he belonged to the group 1000 and wheel. Wheel group is the one that it will give you the super access. Okay, now we created the user, but we need to add a password to him. Okay. Beforehand, the password is stored in cat etc shadow. When you cat this file, okay, so look in here, we have the user terminator, but this part is blank here. That means this part is there is no password set here. Look for
Mr.
Zafar.
Zafar, I have a question. Somebody his mic is going off at the same time as yours, so I'm hearing double noises.
Yeah, everybody please go on mute. Or let me mute everybody here. Hold on. Okay, Mirza, can you hear me better? So, everybody go ahead and look here. The information for Terminator is small. And information for Zafar is, it has a lot of information here.
Yeah, okay.
So here,
Slash
this part is a
shadow.
password for Zafar, yeah.
ये तो चला नहीं है मेरे से. cat/etc/shadow.
Yeah.
पूरा shadow type किए. Oh, sorry, my bad. I forgot to go on mute. So do I have to put the full shadow or is it SHW and DW at the end?
SHADOW.
SHA. Oh, sorry, I spelled it wrong. Sorry about that.
No worries. So let's go ahead and create the password for Terminator. To create the password for Terminator, type password PASSWD. That's it. Nothing more than that. There is no
I missed out how to
ORD.
create a user.
I'm sorry?
I missed out on the part of how to create another user.
Oh, well, please watch the video, okay? We cannot wait for you. So let's continue. Password, type PASSWD and type Terminator. And hit enter. What it will do is it's asking you to provide the password. It's saying changing password for user Terminator, okay? It will say whatever it wants. But go ahead and provide the new password. When you're typing the password, it won't show, okay? So just type easy password for him, okay? So give him the password. Just give him 1 2 3 and hit enter. 1 2 3 and hit enter again. Okay, so it's giving you it's shorter than 8 characters, but root user has such authority that it could create any password for anybody. It doesn't have to be complex. But if you're creating the password on your own, then it will be real complex. I mean, it won't allow you to give the easy password. Just remember that.
Yeah, it says here the password is shorter than 8 characters.
Yeah.
Retype your password.
Well, no, for this class, just give the password 123 so that you know you don't have a headache of typing in the password and getting it wrong.
Yeah. The boys.
Okay, so set the user password. And this is the command you do. And here it says the token got updated successfully. Okay, so the file which got updated is /etc/shadow. This file holds the password for everybody, password for all the system users. Okay, and if you look in here, if you do cat etc password shadow, I'm sorry, now you see the terminator has like an alphanumeric digit here, right? This part here. So I'm going to copy that part. And how do you read this?
Do we do the -H?
No.
The human readables? No. Okay.
So I'm gonna split this up and tell you what this is. Before that, cat etc password. Are we out of time? We are. Can everybody stay like 2 minutes or 5 minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And also, can you please go over one more time with the passwords?
Yeah, let's do the password one here. Password file. When you do cat etc password file, right? How do you read that? So over here, this is the file, right?
Sure.
Cat etc password. Okay, so how are we gonna read this file here? One, two, three, four. Okay. Okay, so the first one is user is terminator. Okay, and the second, there's semicolon there. Ignore semicolon. And then the second field is starting. Okay, the second field, which is X, is for check for password. Okay, so the system is going to check for the password. Okay, it won't allow that. And then the third field is called user ID. Okay, UID. And in this case, the user ID is 1001, and 1001 is group ID too. Okay, And then what is this /home/terminator?
This is the home directory.
Yeah, this is a home directory. And then actually there is one part here it's missing, it's blank. So you could also type user information here. By default it won't do that for you. So what you're gonna have to do is, right now it's blank here. But in here usually what you could do is user information text. You could type user information text, okay? I may or may not show you, but if you don't have it, don't worry about it. And the last one is bin bash. Okay, what is the shell type? Don't worry about this. This is default almost everywhere. There may be some users that you need to restrict access to bin bash, but for this course, don't worry about that. So I'm gonna a little bit squeeze this here a bit so that it all fits. And home directory and shell type. There you go. All this looks good here. So when you're reading in the etc password file, we have terminator, that is user, a little X that means check for password, and 001 is group ID, and then the next field is 1001 is group ID, and the next field is blank. You could put in like this is a terminator from future or whatever. To make it look nice, you could do that. And you could also type in automatically this is created, user home directory, and bin bash is the shell type. Okay, now let's talk about the password. After this, I'm going to end the class. Password file is also the same here. Let me. So when you do cat etc shadow file, which is a password file, so I'm going to put it in here. Okay, so the first part is terminator, which is user. Okay, and the second part starts here. Wherever the semicolon is, it starts here, and this part is from here to here is the password. This is not exactly the password. This is the alphanumeric. The password is scrambled here, but you could see the scrambled password. So this part is password. Uh-oh.
So, Mr. Zafar, even the root user or the main person doesn't have access to unscramble the user's password and see?
Say it again.
So the root user even doesn't have access to unscramble a user's password to see it?
No. That would be a big security violation.
Okay.
What you can do is, if the user is saying, "Oh, I need to have a same exact password on one other server here," all you do is just copy this, and they would have a same exact password.
So if a user forgot their password and they have to tell you to update it, you can still update it, right, without knowing the password since you have access to it?
Exactly. Very good. Very good. So on one server, he will give you, oh, my server on this server is not working all of a sudden. I don't know what happened. Here's the reference server. Copy the same exact password here. So what you do is you come back here and copy this part here. And the user don't have to tell you what the password was. And you will never know what the password was. At the same time, as a root, you are setting him with the password, which is supposed to be confidential, and it is. And you have 18,875. So these are the days. 18,875. So these are the days from December 31st, 1969. This is when the Linux operating system was born. Unix, not Linux. So if you type days since December 31st, 1969, you got 18,876 days. This is really important here. This is going to go up until, so why you still have 75? Because it's not counting December 31st. If you do day after. So it's been 18,876 days since December 31st. These are the days between. Okay. So it has been that many days since December 31st, 1969.
What about these days?
The password is using the December 31st, 1969 as a benchmark. Okay, the clock in Linux system starts on December 31st, 1969. Why? Because people at AT&T, when they invented Unix system, they used this date, and this is the date they released the Unix system. This is a very important date for Linux operating or Unix. Anything related to Linux, Unix, anything which is not Windows is Linux, Unix, or AIX. This is the date which is baked into the system here. So that it has been that many days here. So it will give you that stamp. When was this password updated? Updated was from this date. It was updated on this day. So that way you could calculate it. When the password was updated, it will give you the date, today's date. September 5th, 2021. Okay, now the next part is, it says 0 here, right? The grace period. Every time you guys are prompted to the password is going to expire in so many days, right? So grace period means if you have a grace period 0, that means it's not going to expire. Grace period for password expiration is 0. And the next field here is how many days the password is going to expire. Okay, so in general, this is actually being updated. Right now, our system is not hardened, so it's just giving 999 number. That means this password is never going to expire. Expiration date since last update. In reality, it's 60 days. Okay, because you won't allow somebody to have password not changed forever. Every 60 to 90 days you have to change the password. Okay, and the last part is, this is warning. It's giving you warning. So 7 days, so it's set to 7 days by default, right? So it's set to 7 days. In 7 days, the system is gonna expire. And there are other attributes you could add. There are 2 more fields, but I'm not gonna talk about that. It's okay, you don't need to know too much about it. So, but now what we have learned is we have learned that this part, the terminator, and this part is a password, and this is it's been how many days since the password was created. This is the grace period, expiration date, and warning. So these days is 18,876. This is actually calculating the Greenwich Meridian time here. If I do Eastern, it should be 75. Why is he saying 76? Because it's actually calculating the London time, Greenwich Meridian time, GMT. But our system is sitting in Eastern time. If you do date, our system is Eastern. Okay, so we went 13 minutes over here. I'm going to end here. And I will upload the video now, but I will upload the assignment a little later, okay? Any questions, please take a picture and put it in the chat. And I want somebody to help. If not, then I'll help. And everybody have a good long weekend.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Jazakallah khair.
Yeah.